So I was recently given early access to play Dune Awakening. Remember that Dune game that was announced like 2 years ago that looked really cool in this trailer, and everyone was super excited, all the way up until the last 5 seconds of the video where it said this. And that was pretty crushing, because I'm a big Dune fan, not like some Dune super nerd, but I can't help but feel that the Dune Cinematic Universe reboot was basically made for me. And by me, I mean gamer nerd boys. I mean, come on, it's so cool. I swear, our boy Denis can't do no wrong. I've actually really struggled with making this video, because on the one hand, I really want to talk about the new Dune game, because I think I am the Dune target audience. But I'm kinda super sad about it, because while the movies are made for me, this game is definitely not. And if the comments are to be believed, I'm not alone in this feeling. I'm also not alone in the Slorgs Patreon, thanks for the support. If you, viewer, are interested in supporting the channel, click the link in the description. Dune Awakening is a massive open-world multiplayer survival game, in other words, an MMO. Set in an alternate version of the Dune universe. In this reality, the Fremen went missing, and key events in the lore are drastically altered. For example, our boy Shamalama is never born, Rebecca Ferguson gives birth to a girl, and Oscar Isaac is never killed. There is a beta for the game coming May 9th, so if the following does look interesting to you, I'd look out for that. In Dune, as is tradition in video games these days, you begin by customizing your character. And as the Dune cinematic universe is steeped in interesting and memorable characters, and hinges on the political interplay between these characters, their factions, and their desires, there's a good argument to be made that Dune Awakening should have complex customization options. And it's certainly true that some of the characters from the movies look a little more weird than others, but I can't help but feel that the game shouldn't really allow me to make this. And I'm not entirely convinced you should be able to create this either. Crazy. And I'm somewhat on the fence about this as well. Don't get me wrong, making the most ridiculous character imaginable is hilarious. But as you'll see from the various opening cutscenes and attempts at building an actual story into the world, Dune Awakening takes itself very seriously, which does become rather jarring when all this seriousness starts including me.
My leg is bad and I won't be able to work the pedals.
But sure, you're wearing clothes most of the game, your freakish true self is largely hidden behind the mask of a makeshift still suit that helps to retain not just water, but some semblance of immersion.
Oh, are we helmets off?
Yeah, we only put them on for the stunts. Immersion that does allow you to take in the rather impressive world of Dune Awakening. Without a doubt, Dune's crowning achievement is how it's managed to capture the desolate spice fields of Arrakis. Whether you're running the flowing dunes, climbing the mountainous terrain, or looking out at an impressive skybox which hangs above an impressive view distance, you'll find yourself engulfed in Dune's world. And it's a good job, because hot damn, you'll be spending a lot of time walking across it. Thankfully, I'm a Milsim player, so I've trained for this. But if you happen to be a normal person, this may well make you want to throw yourself off a large cliff. Ah! Oh, I almost fell to my death. But before you do so, consider that this game also comes with special abilities, some of which help with movement. Before arriving on Arrakis, you choose your backstory, which again, in a Dune game, makes a lot of sense. Naturally, in order to not be bullied, I opted to be a peasant, as opposed to some kind of rich space and had some kind of space military ties, which allowed me the awesome power of this grappling hook, which I guess is useful, kinda. My mate Will ended up with a mega sprint power, which seems a lot better than the shit I have. Wow. But you ain't seen nothing yet. Old big Jeff had, wait for it, a poison grenade, which, as far as I can tell, he used exclusively to accidentally kill himself with.
Accidentally managed to poison myself. Perfect.
But as enticing as that sounds, the thin veneer of an impressive environment and mediocre superpowers does little to distract from what the game actually is: an MMO. On the vast open world of Arrakis, a world steeped in history, conflict, and politics, you commit to a never-ending list of chores. What is my purpose? You mine rocks. Why? Because this list told me to do it. This list may be the most crushing part of the entire game. The entire expansive universe of Dune, a world drowning in potential, has been boiled down to an arbitrary list of mundane nothingness that you at no point ever care about, and that successfully makes the entire game feel like a big old load of nothing. And I can't even complain about it, because that's just what an MMO is. But I just don't think it's what Dune should be. The game has some interesting combat mechanics. It has some vampire-inspired survival elements like sucking blood from the dead to satiate your eternal quest for hydration, and dodging the sun like the plague. It of course has worms, buildable vehicles, there's trading, an entire Minecraft portion of the game. There's even a PvP element that was unfortunately not included in this test, where you can participate in major ground and air battles in the deep desert, or support the efforts from behind the front lines through PvE activities like crafting to secure power in the Landsrad. There's apparently going to be an entire thing about fighting real players for spice and using your gained power to change the game world or something. A lot of that sounds quite cool. It's a shame none of it was in the preview. Because unfortunately, what was in the preview was build this box so you can build this box, so you can build this thing, so you can go do this, so you can do this thing. And to do those things, you have to collect this rock, and that piece of trash, and those sandwich bags for some reason. I don't know, man, it's just a bunch of MMO shit. I'm at all points in Dune a slave to this hellish, soulless list. And your reward for completing the list is to be given another list. I swear, it's hell. And more frustrating still is that the list never asked me to create the Dune Emporium of Stairs.
Oh my god. I can't get on this.
What is this art that's happening?
I'll create a Colosseum of Stairs.
Wow.
Where are
I've made a rock climbing gym. That'll be £10, please. 20 for peak times. When are peak times?
All the time.
It also never asked me to scale the tallest building I could see. Oh! I'm making it to the top of the skyscraper. I made it. And it made a really epic sting when I got to the top. It didn't even ask me to fight sandworms or hang from this door. And that's really sad, because those were my favourite parts of the entire game. The list creates a painfully linear experience that actively fights against your desire to explore what is a beautifully open world. And when you add into the mix that your friends have the exact same list of chores to complete as you, and you all inevitably end up at different stages of the chores, and each of you has to do the same mind-numbing task individually, side by side. So although my mate built the fabricator and ticked it off his list, I also have to build the fabricator, even though there's one right here that I could use right now. And I can't even complain, because this is an MMO, and this is what you do in MMOs. And with my very basic knowledge of MMOs, this game feels like a perfectly acceptable MMO. But what it doesn't feel like is the interactive digital representation of what Dune could be. When I imagine what a Dune game could be, I consider a compelling first-person Dune single-player, open-world campaign where you fight as part of different warring factions. Or maybe it could be a Foxhole-style perpetual world war game, where different factions fight on a massive battlefield for resources in a war that can last real-life weeks at a time. Maybe it's more of a Star Wars Battlefront game, with big combined arms combat taking place across the treacherous plains of Arrakis. But no, It's an MMO. It's a game where your entire existence boils down to the whims of lines of text on the top left of your screen. Now don't get me wrong, the list of chores available to you does seem endless, and I have no doubt that you could spend roughly your entire life playing this game. If you do happen to be without a job and have no intention of finding one, this game could well fill the void. Because that's what Dune Awakening really is. It's a job. It's a job that has some actual challenging elements to it, like some depth and skill to combat even if it is almost entirely against AI, or some difficulty in traversing the world itself that makes it more than just a walking simulator. And the game has real stakes because if you die...
Oh my Christ, it's gonna kill us all.
Holy shit. Did you die, Mars?
I got eviscerated.
You're gone, man. You literally lose everything unless you put it in a box. These are examples of tantalizing drips of gameplay content that make you feel like there is a Dune game in there. It's just locked behind the entirely soulless grindfest of an MMO. I'd be interested to see the PvP element of the game, which may well be where the true game is. But I do fear that getting to that point would require traversing what they call the early to mid game, which seems to be an awful lot of this. All of which boils down to a Dune Awakening that very much feels like an IP that should have been made for me. But it wasn't. You're about to see a man fall to his death. No, I shouldn't do that. Man, it's always very jarring when my helmet comes off. Uh-oh. Well, that's 2 salvage fabrics.
I mean, that was only 2? You need 6? Oh, there are the mines.
What is the point of a mine that detonates about 10 seconds after you step on it? It's like those mines in movies where they don't blow up as long as you don't take your foot off of it.
Yeah.
What is the fucking point of that?